Well, you say that if untruth becomes the core of the party, but the problem is that parties hold to myths. Whether they're truths or untruths is academic. One of the myths your party holds to is the belief that Sardar Patel stood up against partition to the end. You've questioned that myth by equating Patel with Nehru, by bracketing them together. Now, Nehru is someone your party is happy to criticize. Patel they consider an icon. By bracketing one with the other, you've denigrated an icon. And again, you did it deliberately.
I have not denigrated an icon. I have simply pointed out the facts of history. Late Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel had a secretary in V.P. Menon. V.P. Menon was his advisor. V.P. Menon was also Mountbatten's advisor. The plan for partition was sold to Patel by V.P. Menon. It's a fact of history. Jawaharlal Nehru, in the month of March 47, asks Patel, it's in transfer of power, please help me with the Congress Working Committee.
I concede readily that these are facts of history. You're not making them up. The problem is that you're rubbing facts of history into the face of a myth the party cherishes and demolishing that myth. No party accepts it. And you did it knowing that this was going to be the outcome. And therefore, I put it to you, were you playing with fire or were you being naive?
No, I was neither. I was attempting to find truth. It was a search for truth as to what lies or what lay behind our partition.
You're really saying to me
Yes.
that nothing motivated you more than just what you call the search for truth.
Absolutely.
In which case, let me ask you this. What you wrote is a political biography of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Why then have you completely overlooked and ignored the fact that he knew of, he approved of, and probably authorized the tribal Pathan invasion of Kashmir, which led directly to the October 1947 war? Why have you overlooked that?
I don't overlook it because the book ends with partition and his death.
The book
That's
ends,
a separate subject.
but this happened before Jinnah's death.
I know, but it's a subject that is altogether separate. It would go into the invasion. Of course, he authorized it. I have also pointed out the great killing of Calcutta in vivid detail. I don't overlook any of the mistakes of his public life.
Except you called a man a great man. You said India has demonized him and obviously done so wrongly, and yet you completely overlooked and ignored the fact that he launched against India the first threat to India's sovereignty and the first war that India faced. And he did it within 3 months of partition. That doesn't find mention.
No, because that should have required altogether a different and a separate book. Already I was running into almost 900 pages. The book had to be cut down. There are limits to it.
But shouldn't this have been part of a political biography of Jinnah by an Indian politician?
No, I don't think so. It's a decision an author has to make. And a decision that's governed by many factors.
You're right. Authors always select what they want to put in.
Naturally.
In that selectivity, have you lost your objectivity? Have you lost your balance?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
You have no qualms about leaving out this particular...
And no qualms at all. As a former soldier, I say. Because that is an inquiry that goes very deep into not just Jinnah ordering the launching, but the conduct of the entire operations by Indian leaders too.
What happens if people turn around and say that by overlooking and ignoring this, you've not only written a one-sided account, but you've exculpated Jinnah of the charge of launching war against India?
I haven't exculpated because exculpated, because amongst the first of the sentences that I used was, the distinction has to be made between his personal attributes and his public conduct. These are two very different things.
And that explains and underlines why you've left this out.
I haven't left it out, because it was practically not possible for me to cover that and then go also into Jinnah's death and then go into what Pakistan today.
Is it convincing to say it was practically not possible?
That's up to you. That's up to you, really. The author has to make a choice. The author might not be able to convince everybody.
You stand by that choice?
Absolutely. What do you want me to do?
Let's take a break at that point. I want to come back and in the limited time available in part 2, put to you what you said about Jinnah versus what Mr. Advani said about Jinnah, and ask you from the other side now to ask whether there is really a difference between the two people's comments, and therefore how you respond to the fact that you've been expelled and he ends up as leader of the opposition. We'll be back in a moment's time. See you after the break.